Today marks the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
And we will have reports from Memphis up next.
Good evening and thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Matthew Hindley.
And I'm Courtney Ham.
The National Civil Rights Museum in Memphis held numerous events today honoring Dr. Martin Luther King's legacy.
NewsWatch reporter DeAndrea Turner was in Memphis today to catch all of the action.
I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
This was part of the last speech that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. ever gave in Memphis, Tennessee. Many speakers and public figures remembered his legacy today. One of the speakers was Trent Lester, who walked 400 miles from Atlanta to the Lorraine Motel to take a stance against poverty and honor Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Emotional, makes me excited, but yet sorrowful. I wish he was still around.
It's here at the Lorraine Motel, just in front of room 306. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated 50 years ago. Thousands of people are gathered here today to commemorate him. The daughter of Reverend Jesse Jackson, Sanita Jackson, says today is another step in moving forward.
It's a moment of profound reflection, a moment of sadness, but a moment in which we have to go forward.
The theme for this year's commemoration is Where Do We Go From Here? And the University of Memphis students.
Many remember Martin Luther King as a peaceful civil rights activist, but today many are remembering his legacy. NewsWatch reporter Peyton Sams gives us an inside look on some of MLK's final moments.
We've got some difficult days ahead, but it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop.
April 4th marks the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. The civil rights leader was 39 years old when he was shot.
He sort of raised his head to kind of test the weather, and
Dr. King delivered what no one knew would be his final speech at the Mason Temple to a group of sanitation workers. Dr. King paved the way for activists by speaking his mind and showing no fear while standing up for what he believed in. His time dedicated to civil rights led to a lasting legacy that even he foresaw within his last few hours. Although today we recognize the tragedy in King's assassination, several choose to use this time to celebrate the achievements that King fought so passionately for.
I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.
Peyton Sams, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
MLK was shot at 6:01 on the balcony of the Lorraine Motel in Memphis. A ceremony will be held at that time to commemorate the anniversary.
The balcony of the Lorraine Motel where Dr. King was assassinated is a registered landmark of the National Park Service and a part of the National Civil Rights Museum.
People from all over the world, young and old, gathered today to celebrate the 50th anniversary of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s death. For some, it brought back flashbacks of a turbulent time.
50 years ago I was here, and one of the things that I remember that stands out a lot, other than Dr. King himself, I got maced as an 11-year-old, and I thought it was almost the end of the world, because the police were macing people and beating people, and a lot of things were going on that wasn't very pleasant.
Many civil rights activists also paid their respects to one of the leading forces during the civil rights movement.
The people in the movement became like family. I can see people from the movement I haven't seen in decades, and it's like old home week. There were so many of us and so many who died that whenever we have a chance to honor them, we should take it.
Today is full of tributes to honor the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And the theme of this year's commemoration, 50 years after his assassination, where do we go from here?
I think where we go from here is focusing more on unity instead of tearing each other down, particularly in the African American community. And what we need to do is focus on those things that Dr. King talked about: poverty, peace, and so much more.
At 6 o'clock this evening, bells will toll 39 times in Memphis and all over the world to reflect on the 39 years that Dr. King lived.
A group of teenagers marched from Mississippi to Memphis ahead of the 50th anniversary of the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. NewsWatch reporter Brian Barisa has more.
Seen from a distance,
people are wondering why they're shutting down one lane of traffic.
Blue lights led the way, as a group of teenagers trailed behind.
The students are taking the lead in next generation change on racial and economic justice.
The same message Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. preached before his assassination in Memphis 50 years ago.
Marching 50 miles to kind of commemorate that.
The group recorded their journey since it started in Dundee, Mississippi on Saturday.
The first part was a bit different. We're walking out in the Delta, so it's straight and flat.
The teens, between 14 and 19 years old, have walked up to 15 miles a day with their mentors from the Pearson Foundation, a faith-based mentoring and community service organization based in Pearl, Mississippi.
We've had sheriff's departments escorting us, lots of blue lights behind us, and 1968, if you were marching generally, it wasn't a safe thing to have blue lights behind you. And so things have changed.
Change, mentors say they discussed as they made their way into Memphis. As strangers greeted them on the sidewalk, cheering them on.
I love a challenge. That's one of the main reasons I signed up.
This group hopes to pave the way for a better future. A future Dr. King dreamed of. Brian Barisa, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
The teens concluded their march in Memphis yesterday.
People all around the world are remembering Martin Luther King Jr.'s legacy, and people right here in Oxford are no exception. NewsWatch reporter Kristen Faulkner takes a look at what Ole Miss is doing to show the respect.
Dr. Linda Spargo is the Special Projects Coordinator here at Ole Miss. Today, she has the distinct honor of ringing the bells at Paris Yates Chapel.
This is the anniversary of the death of Martin Luther King. I will go over to the chapel at a little before 6 and watch my clock so that 6:05 I will manually chime the bells. So all over the United States, we hope bells will be ringing 39 times to commemorate the age he was when he died.
I'm here at the Paris Yates Chapel where the Pedal Tower is located. While today's event is occurring internationally, I spoke with an Ole Miss student about Martin Luther King Jr.'s significance 50 years later.
Martin Luther King Jr., he really paved the way for African American and other minority students like myself. Even though it is 50 years later, diversity and inclusion is still a major problem in society and on this campus. I think the biggest thing this event will contribute to this community and the student body is awareness. And I feel as if this event is like one step of many that needs to be done in order to progress an advancement of African American, minority, and white relationships.
Martin Luther King Jr.'s life's work continues to make an impact today. You can hear the memorial bells at 6:05 this evening on campus. Kirsten Faulkner, NewsWatch, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is one of many college campuses participating in memorial events this evening.
The Oxford Lafayette Heritage Foundation was gifted the donation of the Burns Bell Free Church in 2002, creating a historical landmark right here in Oxford. NewsWatch reporter James Ferris explains why the church is so important to the community.
What it does for me, it provides a sense of pride. If I didn't live here and I came and I wanted to find some history on somebody that was rooted in my community, this is the place to go.
The Burns Belfry Episcopal Church is a Mississippi landmark. It was donated by John Grisham by the Oxford Lafayette County Heritage Foundation in 2002, and it was turned into this wonderful museum. Here is the site of the first African American church here in Oxford, growing each year for the community and by the community.
The community came together, not just the organizations, not just certain people. When we had an opening for it, this whole community engulfed that place and loved it. That said, I can't go into telling people about the history of the Burns Belfry without first saying we are a community of people. And we're not, no set group of folks. We're just a group of people that have come together to love on a building that sustains history, that will sustain us years on.
The museum hopes to expand and grow in the upcoming years, offering new innovative ways to experience the story. I'm James Ferris, NewsWatch Ole Miss.
The church is open Sunday from 1 to 4 p.m. and Wednesday through Friday from 12 to 3 p.m. Admission is free, but donations are accepted.
Ole Miss faculty member Ellen Meacham presented her new book yesterday in the Overby Center.
NewsWatch reporter Madison Scarpino is on set with more. Madison?
Thanks, guys. That's right. I was there yesterday when Ellen Meacham presented her new book, Delta Epiphany. I talked to Meacham after her speech about her writing process and how her students helped her along the way.
Yesterday at the Overby Center, author Ellen Meacham presented her new book, Delta Epiphany. The book discusses Robert Kennedy's visit to the Mississippi Delta in 1967.
Robert Kennedy knelt on the floor in a shack in Cleveland, Mississippi, and tried to get a response out of this child.
Delta Epiphany gives insights into the issues regarding the evolving civil rights movement, including economic inequalities.
I realized about halfway through, I thought, the longest piece I'd ever written was like a 3-part series that maybe was 3,000 words total. And here I was trying to write 90,000 words about something. So I had to sort of, in a way, develop a little self-compassion and say, well, gosh, no wonder it's hard. You haven't done anything like this. And, let's just try to work through it.
Meacham says her students at Ole Miss aided her throughout the process.
For extra credit, I would give those budding young editors some chance to edit chapters or read chapters, and they'd ask good questions, and they caught things that I hadn't caught. The students were very sweet and excited for me when it actually became a book, and so they were entwined in the whole process.
If you would like to learn more about the economic inequality and Kennedy's impact on the Mississippi Delta, Meacham's book is now available for purchase. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Madison. Coming up, find out what U.S. exports China is imposing tariffs on.
Annabeth Blokovich has your first look at the current conditions.
Happy Wednesday, Oxford. Looking ahead, we're going to be seeing some clouds and rain this weekend, along with cooler nighttime temperatures and high winds. Looking at the current radar, you can see that it's actually finally clear, and we will be getting a bit of a break from the rain. More to come on Storm Watch.
What to expect when you're expecting a teenager.
Today we're talking about how to wake up your teen, and this works literally every time.
Good kisses. Good kisses. You heard how loud
I heard. It wasn't you. It was the...
Is that bacon?
You don't have to know it all to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
Yes, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
This morning, the YouTube community is still reeling in shock after a female gunman shot 3 people on campus yesterday afternoon. And now police are identifying the shooter who took her own life as they try to piece together what caused her to do this.
Terrifying moments in the lunchtime hour Tuesday at the YouTube headquarters just south of San Francisco.
We have a report of subject with a gun.
Police say Nasim Agdam walked onto the campus just before 1 p.m. local time and shot 3 people with a handgun before taking her own life. The shooting sparked a massive police response within 2 minutes of the first 911 calls.
We heard 7 to 8 shots being fired.
Witnesses described chaotic scenes as confused employees rushed out of the building.
We heard gunshots. It was really close to me because I could feel the power of the gun.
The victims, one of whom was critically injured, are now being treated in the hospital. Police are now working to piece together exactly what happened and why. Agdam's family says she was active on YouTube, where she preached in favor of veganism and animal rights. They say she was frustrated with YouTube as she believed she was being censored. Her father reportedly said she was staying with her grandmother in San Diego, but went missing a few days ago.
We called that cop again and told him that there's a reason she went all the way from San Diego to that.
The Los Angeles Times reports a law enforcement source says officials are examining her website as a part of their investigation. News outlets are working to confirm the authenticity of that website.
And new developments in the case coming out this afternoon. Police talked with the gunman hours before the shooting and said they didn't notice anything suspicious or disturbing.
China announced additional tariffs on over 100 U.S. products today. This is likely to increase global concerns of a trade war taking place between the world's biggest economies. These tariffs are estimated to target up to $50 billion of U.S. products each year, according to China's Ministry of Commerce. Although the official start date for charges has not yet been announced. The 25% levy on U.S. imports includes products such as soybeans, cars, and whiskey. This move was not unexpected due to President Trump unveiling a list of Chinese imports that he aims to target as part of a crackdown on what he deems as unfair trade practices.
Well, Courtney, last night was a little stormy, but today the sun was shining.
You are right, Matthew, but how long will the sunny weather continue? Annabeth Flodovich will let us know in her extended forecast coming up next.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Don't wait. Communicate. Make your emergency plan today.
Fancy pants peanut butter? A big screen television? You haven't even bought a sofa yet. A motorcycle? When your father finds out, he's gonna flip his shoes with 2 buckles? What do you even need 2 buckles for? Mr. Big Shot, buying whiskey shots for everybody in the bar. From the looks of it, I'd say nobody even remembers. Feed the pig.
Happy Hump Day and welcome back to Storm Watch. We are finally getting a break from the rain tonight. It's going to be 40 degrees with clear skies, but there will be some high winds out of the northeast. Looking into tomorrow, it will be not too bad at 66 degrees. It will be partly cloudy, but no chance of rain, but we will have some of those high winds out of the southeast. Looking into the rest of the week, it will be a high of 66 on Friday, but a 100% chance of rain. On Saturday, it will be 50, a high of 61 on Sunday, a high of 67 on Monday with a 70% chance of rain, and a 66 on Tuesday. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Annabeth. We finally have our women's basketball head coach. It was announced earlier today. See who it is.
And the rivalry between the Ole Miss baseball team and the Memphis Tigers is renewed tonight. See what the Rebels need to do to win next.
There's one thing you can never have sex without.
It's consent.
Because sex without it isn't sex.
It's rape.
It's on us to stop sexual assault.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
You think getting dumped by text is harsh? Try getting dumped by a tennis ball. My ex-owner drove me out to the woods, yelled fetch, and by the time I bought the ball back, he was gone. Yeah, I was pissed. But the folks at the shelter helped me let go of my anger. I learned coping skills, like taking it to the hole. Boom! Now I'm ready to fetch again. But how about I throw and you run and get it?
Everybody has a dream. Mine was to see the ocean. And with a little help, I made it.
It's a short ride from your neighborhood to your naturehood. To find a neighborhood park or green space near you, visit discovertheforest.org.
Heyo, welcome to Sports Watch. I'm Nick Dunavant. The search for the new head coach of the Ole Miss women's basketball team is over, as Ross Bjork announced the hiring of Yolette McPhee-McEwen. McPhee-McEwen, or Coach Yo as most players and coaches call her, spent the previous 5 seasons at Jacksonville University, where she led the Dolphins to 20 wins the past 3 consecutive seasons. Coach Yo also serves as a national team head coach for her native country, Bahamas. Now the new Rebels coach has a challenge ahead of her. Begin to turn around an Ole Miss women's program that has finished dead last in the SEC 6 out of the last 8 years. Throwing it over to baseball, the Rebels are traveling to the 901 tonight to take on the Memphis Tigers. Mike Bianco and his team are coming off a massive series win against Arkansas this past weekend. The Rebels faced Memphis earlier this year, topping them 8-6 in Swayze Field. If Ole Miss wins tonight, they'll match the best 30-game start in school history. Taking the mound tonight for the Rebs is Houston Roth, who is 3-0 on the season. Ole Miss is 8-0 so far this year in midweek games, including 2 road wins. The first pitch is at 6:30 at AutoZone Park. It's the offseason in the NFL, so you know what it's time for. The trade rumors start circulating like the heat inside a hot yoga studio. The Patriots recently made some changes in their roster, trading Brandon Cooks to the Rams for a first-round pick. Now, a normal thought would be the Pats would use that extra first-round pick to land a prize QB this summer. But you forgot. Tom Brady's going to play until he's 75 years old in a retirement home. So instead of a QB, the Pats might look into snagging a wide receiver. And not just any wide receiver, I'm talking about OBJ. Brady to Beckham, I can get with that. You know, it would be really nice to just open up a box and find a 10-carat diamond ring with 214 diamonds and 25 sapphires on it. That's exactly what players and coaches for the Astros got to experience last night at Minute Maid Park. The highest tier of the World Series rings are valued at over $70,000. 70 G's. If I'm an Astro, I'm tracking the location of my ring at all times. Not only because, you have a World Series champs ring, but I bet these rings have a brutal refund policy. In total, the Astros distributed 1,332 rings to people all over the organization. That's all for sports. Be sure to follow our Twitter at NewsWatch_UM for more of your favorite Ole Miss updates. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, Nick. Up next, find out who took a special service trip to Disneyland.
Ooh, I'd like to go there. Stay tuned. There's more NewsWatch coming up next.
Todd's a great guy. I mean, look at him. What a sweetheart. Attaboy. Wait, Todd, what are you doing? How totally selfish and un-Todd-like of you. Come on, Todd. Come on, man.
We are Ole Miss Rebels. As Mississippi's flagship university, we dig deeper, see farther, work harder. We pioneered human organ transplants. We helped prove Einstein's theory of gravitational waves. We are distinguished as a Carnegie R1 top 2.5% research institution. We are Ole Miss, transforming lives and the world.
Don't ignore the subtext. It's on us to intervene in sexual assault. Because we can. Take the pledge at itsonus.org.
There's a shelter pet who wants to meet you. Meet one today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org. Adopt.
These are four-legged Disneyland fans, and they're going viral on Twitter. Forget Pluto, meet the group of service dogs in training that took a magical trip to the happiest place on Earth. They're members of Canine Companions, and they're being trained to enhance the lives of those with disabilities.
Their handlers took the service dogs in training to Disney to enhance their social skills. These fun-loving pups nosed their way around the park and even made some new friends. They also patiently posed for photos until they were doggone tired.
Man, what a sweet story. It's been a long time since I've been to Disney.
I know. I wish I would have been there to see those pups.
No.
Oh, well. All right, so will we be walking our dogs this weekend?
Not on Friday night, 100% chance of rain. Stay inside if you must. But the rest of the weekend, it's going to be cloudy, so nothing too bad, especially if you're going out to the field parties on Saturday.
Excellent.
I was going to say, it's supposed to be spring. I want sunshine.
I know. A little sunshine, but then Friday night, like I said, stay inside.
All right. Well, thank you, Annabeth.
That's all we have for tonight. Thank you for tuning in to NewsWatch Ole Miss. I'm Matthew Hinman.
Be sure to catch us here again on air at 5 and on our Facebook live stream. You can also find our show on hottiestowdy.com. I'm Courtney Cam. Thank you and good night.